Alright, if you're watching this right now, you're probably here for one reason. You want to know what DJI actually has lined up this year without the usual rumor soup. Because here's the thing, leaks are fun, but they're messy, and the internet has a habit of treating every random screenshot like it's a confirmed launch event. So for this video, I want to do it a little differently. Instead of what I hope DJI launches, we're focusing on what looks the most real. The stuff that has either shown up in certification trails like FCC filings or has leaked in a way that's consistent enough to take seriously. Not a promise, not a guarantee, but a roadmap that's much closer to reality than typical wish list speculation. And yes, I know some of you are going to say, why are we even talking about US pricing when DJI is basically blocked now? We'll get to that, because it's not as simple as people think, and some products were already moving through approvals before the situation tightened up. But first, let's talk about what DJI's year probably looks like when you zoom out. The headline product, the one that keeps showing up in conversations for a reason, is the Avata 360. This isn't Avata 3, and this is DJI treating the Avata as a platform and pushing it into a completely different direction. A drone that's designed around immersive capture, where you can reframe after the flight instead of stressing mid-flight about whether you aimed perfectly, and that sounds like marketing fluff. Until you realize how many creators have been trying to build this setup manually for years with awkward external cameras, messy stitching, and footage that looks amazing until you notice props cutting through the frame. So if DJI actually pulls off a clean, integrated, purpose-built Avata 360, it's not a small update. It's DJI quietly creating a new category that sits between FPV and creator tools. Now, right next to that in the most likely tier is the Osmo Pocket 4. This is one of those products where the Pocket community doesn't even need a flashy new feature. People just want DJI to fix the friction. Battery confidence, faster transfers, better low light behavior, better controls, and fewer moments where you're like, why is this one thing still annoying? And because the Pocket line is so popular with normal creators, not just tech nerds, when DJI updates it, it actually matters. It's the kind of launch that doesn't feel dramatic on announcement day, but it changes what a lot of people carry every day. Then you've got the next Ronin gimbal, like the RS5. This is the kind of product that doesn't trend on TikTok, but it quietly dominates real production work. DJI's gimbals are already everywhere, so the question isn't, will it stabilize? The question is, what are they improving for people who shoot long days, heavy rigs, real paid work, where small annoyances become big problems? If DJI goes after battery endurance, weight balance, and focus tools again, the RS5 becomes one of those upgrades that pros don't get excited about. They just buy it because it saves time and reduces stress. Now, here's where things get interesting. DJI's smaller creator accessories, because DJI has been quietly building a whole ecosystem around solo filming, not cinema, not Hollywood, just creators who shoot alone and want the gear to behave like an assistant. And that's where stuff like a new Osmo Mobile refresh or new small control accessories starts making sense. The point isn't specs, the point is reducing friction so normal people can shoot more often without feeling like production is a chore. Okay, now here's the part that matters if you're watching from the US. Even with the FCC covered list situation, it does not automatically mean everything stops. What it really means is new approvals can get messy, timing can get weird, and the US may not get launches the same way other regions do. That's why you're going to see DJI behave differently this year. Not just in what they release, but how they release it, and that's also why 2026 might be the year where DJI launches feel a little uneven globally, even if the products themselves are ready. Now let's finish the roadmap properly, because there are a few more things that are very likely to land this year, and some of them are the kind of products people underestimate until they use them. So continuing from that, after the headline stuff, Avata 360, Pocket 4, RS5, The next layer is what I'd call the quiet upgrades that actually change workflow. One of those is DJI's mic ecosystem. DJI has already proven they understand what creators want: small transmitters, reliable audio, easy pairing, and fewer moments where you hit record and realize later something didn't capture right. So if DJI refreshes anything in the mic lineup this year, it'll probably be iterative, but meaningful. Cleaner wireless performance, better battery behavior, or small usability fixes that don't sound exciting until you're filming in the real world. Then there's the Osmo Mobile side, and this matters more than people admit. Because phones are getting heavier, camera bumps are getting bigger, and the just slap it on a gimbal experience is not as smooth as it used to be. So if DJI does an Osmo Mobile update that's more pro-leaning, stronger motors, better tracking, better stability under real movement, that's a product that quietly becomes the default for a lot of short-form creators. And the reason I'm mentioning this in a DJI 2026 roadmap video is simple. DJI isn't just selling cameras anymore, they're selling a content pipeline, drone, pocket camera, phone gimbal, audio, all designed to keep you in DJI's workflow. Now, there's another category that tends to leak early and then gets ignored: small accessories, the kind of stuff people call boring, until they realize it removes friction. Remote controls, quick start triggers, framing aids, anything that helps solo creators film without touching the screen or breaking the moment. These aren't headline launches, but they're part of DJI's pattern. They ship the main device, then they ship the little pieces that make the main device feel easier and more complete. And then we have the wildcard category. Every year there's at least one DJI product that shows up in paperwork or leak circles and doesn't fit cleanly into the existing lineup. Sometimes it's a regional thing, sometimes it's a sub-brand, sometimes it's a completely new product line that starts small. And in 2026, the reason people care about the wildcard more than usual is because DJI is operating in a weird environment, especially in the US, so they may try strategies that reduce approval friction, reusing modules, altering bundles, releasing some products globally first, or focusing harder on non-drone creator gear where the regulatory pressure is different. That doesn't mean DJI is done in the US. What it means is DJI is likely to be more tactical. And if you're a DJI user watching this, here's the key takeaway. This year isn't just about launches, it's about timing and access. Internationally, you'll probably see DJI releases roll out more normally. In the US, the releases might feel delayed, confusing, or uneven, which is exactly why you'll keep seeing US dollar conversions in leaked discussions. Not because it's guaranteed to launch normally in the US, Bryce, but because people are trying to understand where it could land if it does. Now let me hit the question I know is coming. Is this the full list? Is this everything DJI will launch in 2026? No, and I want to be honest about that. This is the best early year roadmap we can build from what looks most real right now. But DJI always has surprises, and DJI also has products that don't leak until the last second because they're not as sexy to the leak community. So this is the practical way to use this video. If you're thinking about buying DJI gear soon, don't just ask what's coming. Ask, what problem am I trying to solve right now? If you need a pocket camera now, waiting 6 months for a maybe doesn't always make sense. If you need a gimbal for paid work, stability today matters more than rumor specs tomorrow. And if you're excited about Avata 360 specifically, that's the one product I'd actually understand waiting for, because it could genuinely change what kind of shots you can get without building a complicated rig. Now I want to ask you something, because this is where the comments get interesting. Which DJI product are you actually waiting for in 2026? Not what sounds cool. What would you personally spend money on if it launches the way you want? And also, do you think the US situation is going to stay isolated, or do you think Europe eventually follows with similar pressure? Someone brought that up in the comments recently, and I want to hear how you see it playing out. Drop your take below. I read these, and it honestly helps shape what I cover next. And for the next video, I want to go deeper on the two products that matter most for creators, the Pocket 4 and the Avata 360, as I because that's where DJI's strategy starts to look very deliberate. All right, this is it for today, and I'll catch you in the next one.